Deep in the American desert, miles from any mapped highway, sits a town that time seemingly forgot. Sun-bleached wooden buildings bake in the heat, utterly silent and completely alone. But step inside, and the usual dust of a long-abandoned settlement gives way to something unsettling. Family photos still sit on dusty mantels. Children's toys lie exactly where they were dropped. It looks as though the entire population stood up and walked away in the middle of dinner. Then you find the warnings. Smeared across a weathered wooden door in thick spray paint is a clear directive. Do not stay after sunset. Towns do not empty out overnight without a catastrophic trigger. The preservation of these everyday artifacts contradicts everything we know about how remote settlements usually die. To understand what normally happens, look at a place like Cerro Gordo in California. This was once a booming 19th century silver mining hub, fat with resources and flush with cash. Its decline was agonizingly slow. The mountain had severe water scarcity, and miners clear-cut the entire pinyon pine forest to fuel their blast furnaces. When ore prices plummeted, the town simply couldn't sustain itself, bleeding residents decade after decade. That slow bleed leaves a specific physical footprint. Infrastructure gradually rots, roofs cave in under heavy snows, and wooden frames collapse into skeletal ruins after years of neglect. An economic bust explains why a desert town is isolated, but it fails to explain the sudden, panicked exodus we see here. Starving towns pack their bags. They don't leave their entire lives sitting on the kitchen table. If economics didn't drive them out, an invisible threat might have. A sudden environmental or chemical catastrophe creates exactly this kind of drop-everything-and-run scenario. We saw this during the 2005 Graniteville, South Carolina incident. When 60 tons of toxic chlorine gas released after a train derailment, residents evacuated immediately, leaving everything behind in the confusion. You can sometimes spot physical signs of these ongoing hazards. In Centralia, Pennsylvania, an underground coal mine fire that ignited in 1962 caused the ground to become unstable, opening deep, steaming fissures right through the middle of the asphalt. A toxic threat perfectly justifies an immediate evacuation. Yet there are no government hazard zoning signs here, no chain-link fences, no cleanup crews. If this was a chemical accident, the authorities would have locked it down. The lack of official presence makes what happens after dark even stranger. As night falls, erratic, glowing orbs dart through the windows of these houses, accompanied by a rhythmic, low-frequency hum vibrating through the desert floor. These phenomena strongly resemble the famous Marfa lights in Texas. For over a century, witnesses have reported glowing spheres moving unpredictably across the dry plains. While some blame mirages or car headlights, researchers noted a correlation between the Marfa anomalies and the area's history as a massive World War II military airfield where thousands of soldiers trained. When you have structured, recurring lights and mechanical noises in the dead of night, you are not dealing with ghosts or gas leaks. You are looking at an active, localized, and covert operation. Tracing those mechanical vibrations leads to a basement hatch hidden in the town's most modern structure. Below the floorboards, the desert sand gives way to a reinforced concrete shaft, marked with modern, classified, restricted area signage. The U.S. government has a well-documented history of carving massive command centers out of civilian terrain. Facilities like the Cheyenne Mountain Complex in Colorado use heavy blast doors and deep tunnels to shield operations from external threats. Between 1998 and 2015, an estimated $21 trillion in undocumented spending flowed through the defense and housing departments, dwarfing standard federal budgets. Officials suggest these funds financed a classified network of 170 interconnected doomsday bunkers designed to protect the elite during a catastrophic event. The town functions as a carefully maintained surface decoy, engineered to camouflage a highly active trillion-dollar subterranean asset. The strategy is brilliantly simple. An early economic collapse made this remote patch of desert incredibly cheap, unmapped, and heavily isolated, the perfect real estate for a black budget project. To clear out the few stubborn stragglers, operatives likely staged a localized toxic event. A sudden, terrifying hazard would instantly and permanently evacuate the residents without raising outside suspicion, and they never entirely left. As the harsh dawn breaks, it reveals that this empty town is always under constant watch. This haunting silence serves as the ultimate physical and psychological camouflage for the classified secrets buried just out of sight.